It all started like any other day until a terrified young woman, shackled and desperate, came running across a highway in Alaska. Her frantic escape set off an alarm that wouldn't be silenced so easily. What authorities uncovered from that moment on revealed the existence of a hidden predator lurking beneath the snow, the forests, and the quiet calm of Anchorage. A story of secret maps, chilling confessions, and a manhunt no one saw coming. During the 1970s and early 80s, Alaska went through a massive transformation. The construction of the pipeline drew thousands in search of opportunity. Anchorage, the state's largest city, became a magnet for those wanting a fresh start. But it also became a breeding ground for crime.
For some, that dream would become a nightmare.
Many of the newcomers were women working as dancers or in the adult entertainment industry, hoping for a better life. At that time, Alaska was a place where the law often seemed to vanish in the snow. Vast wilderness, brutal cold, and isolation made it all too easy for someone to disappear. And when someone did go missing, it didn't always raise alarms. In that silence, a man began to hunt. On August 13th, 1982, two off-duty officers were hunting near the Nick River when they stumbled upon something disturbing: partially buried human remains. Despite the passage of time, forensic experts were able to identify the victim. It was 23-year-old Sherry Morrow, a dancer who had vanished a year earlier. At the scene, they found a .223 caliber shell casing. It might have seemed like a minor detail at the time, but it would later become a key clue. A year later, on September 2nd, 1983, construction workers near the same river discovered another body. This time, it was Paula Goulding, just 17 years old. She had recently moved from Hawaii to start over. She'd gone missing 5 months earlier. And once again, investigators found a .223 caliber casing nearby. This could no longer be dismissed as coincidence. Both young women had worked at nightclubs, had disappeared under similar circumstances, and were found in the same area. The pattern was impossible to ignore. State Trooper Wayne Blankenship began connecting the dots. These weren't isolated disappearances. This was something far more sinister. Back then, the disappearance of women in Anchorage was heartbreakingly common. Many had no close family or lived transient lives. Between 1980 and 1983, at least a dozen women had vanished without a trace, likely even more. In that environment, raising alarms required a clear pattern, and now one had finally emerged. Evidence from Sherry and Paula's cases was sent to the FBI lab. The results confirmed what many feared. Both women had been killed with the same weapon. This wasn't just a theory anymore. Alaska had a serial predator on the loose. And then everything changed, thanks to one young woman who refused to give up. On June 13, 1983, just weeks before Paula's body was found, 17-year-old Cindy Paulson escaped her captor. Handcuffed and barely clothed, she ran along a highway in Anchorage, until a driver stopped to help. What she told police sent chills through the department. A man had pretended to be a client. Once she got into his car, he handcuffed her and took her to his house, locking her inside. He told her he planned to fly her to his remote cabin using his private plane. But while he was preparing the flight, Cindy managed to escape. She gave a detailed description of the man, his home, the interior, and even the model of the plane. The vehicle's registration led police to Robert Hansen, a local baker, married with children. He seemed like a model citizen. He agreed to speak with police and allowed a quick search of his home. Everything appeared normal. Friends vouched for his alibi. Without solid proof, he was released. But Officer Greg Baker wasn't convinced. Cindy was terrified, but she was also consistent. Her story had too many specific details to be made up. Baker launched his own investigation, and what he found was deeply unsettling. Hansen had a history that didn't match his public image. Prior convictions for theft, assaults, even arson. He had moved to Alaska to start over. He was also a trophy-winning hunter with a plane that let him reach places no one else could. His double life was carefully constructed. Baker shared his findings with the state police, who were already investigating the Nick River cases, and suddenly everything began to align. The plane, the profile, the shell casings, Cindy's account. But they still needed hard evidence. That's when they turned to the FBI. Agent John Douglas, a pioneer in criminal profiling, created a psychological portrait of the perpetrator. A man with low self-esteem, socially awkward, skilled in hunting, operating alone, and likely keeping trophies from his victims. All signs pointed to Hansen. Thanks to that profile, prosecutors secured a search warrant. On October 23, 1983, Hansen was arrested at his bakery. At the same time, a thorough search of his home was conducted. What they found was chilling: a .223 caliber rifle, a wooden-handled revolver, jewelry belonging to missing women, and a map. A hand-marked map with 37 X's scattered across remote parts of Alaska. Some of those marks matched locations where bodies had already been found. Others remained unknown. That map was the smoking gun. Hansen had kept a personal record of his crimes. No need for newspaper clippings. He had his own system. His alibi crumbled when a friend admitted to lying for him. Hansen had nowhere left to hide. He revealed the location of 17 bodies. Authorities believe the real number was likely much higher. He was sentenced to 461 years in prison with no chance of parole. He remained behind bars until his death in 2014. The Robert Hansen case marked a turning point in Alaska and American criminal history. It exposed how vulnerable certain communities were and how easily their disappearances were overlooked. Thanks to Cindy Paulson's bravery and one officer's refusal to let the case fade away, the truth came to light. And in the end, the hunter became the hunted. What do you think? Was justice served? How many others like Hansen have slipped by, hiding behind a mask of normalcy, protected by a society that doesn't always hear those living on the margins? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.